Yes.
Perfect. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining today's session on breaking language barriers with AI. My name is Mark McQuade. I'm a practice manager with Onica. Onica is a Rackspace company, so I may use those terms interchangeably throughout. And I'm a practice manager within our data science and engineering practice. Within our practice, we focus on all things data, all things machine learning. So today I'm going to go through, essentially I'll go through many of the AWS services that you can, easily use to incorporate natural language and ML into your business or your clients' businesses, really. So with that, I'll briefly introduce you to the portfolio of offerings that Onica delivers, or Rackspace, as I should say. As you can see here, the Elevate category is all about adopting the cloud and improving your current infrastructure and processes within the cloud. That includes such things as cloud adoption and data engineering. The Operate category focuses on helping you run production level environments, optimizing those environments and securing them as well. This includes managed services, managed cloud operations, and cost optimization for your cloud. The Innovate category is all about building, right? New capabilities, new innovation, and new technology that can propel your business forward. So this is your AI and ML, your IoT, and that's what this talk today would fall under. So a little bit more about Onica. As I said, it's a Rackspace company. Onica was recently, acquired by Rackspace. So you can think of us as the AWS arm of Rackspace, right? So us at Onica, we're all in AWS exclusive, right? So we focus only on AWS. Obviously, Rackspace focuses on every other cloud as well, but us particularly is just AWS. Cloud native thinking. Everything we do is cloud native first and foremost, delivering results that leverage the full power of the cloud. Outcomes designed to last, right? So we ensure the cloud keeps delivering value without rework long after we've wrapped up an engagement. And we're all about the people. So we approach all our projects very collaboratively. This allows us, for the teams we work with to gain new skills and continue down that path to success that we started together. And as you can see on the right there, we have a number of AWS competencies that we're pretty proud of. Our newest competency is the machine learning competency, which is extremely hard to get. I think there's only 26 partners in the world that have the AWS machine learning competency, so that's something we're really proud of. And the 1,600 plus AWS certifications in-house is also something we're pretty proud of. All right, so natural language processing. So, what is natural language processing, right? Or NLP for short, right? So it's broadly defined as the automatic manipulation of natural language. So this could be, speech to text, right? And it's by using a software. So the study of natural language processing has been around actually for many decades, over 50 years, and it grew out of the field of linguistics, right? With the rise of computers. So as you can see here, these are specific domains that fall under the NLP umbrella. So automatic speech recognition, right? So ASR. So ASR is the technology that allows human beings to use their voices to speak with a computer interface in a way that resembles normal human conversation. Natural language understanding, or NLU. So that's a branch of NLP that uses computer software to understand input made in the form of sentences in text or speech format. Text to speech, which is what it is. It takes text in as an input and it converts it to spoken speech. And translation. So translates one language to another, right? So these are some topics that I'll cover today during the talk. So as you can see in this slide, over time, computers and AI algorithms specifically have gradually gotten to a point of being better than humans at these tasks, right? As you can see in 1970, right, that was down to 50%. But now, as you look out, we're above the human accuracy threshold with using NLP, AI-backed NLP. So on the screen, you see it's an Amazon Alexa. Who doesn't know what an Alexa is? I'm sure most people on the call know what an Alexa is, have heard of an Alexa, right? So this is one of the biggest examples of this today, right? It's a virtual assistant at the end of the day. That's what it's coined. Alexa is a virtual assistant. It's developed by Amazon. It is capable of doing certain things like voice interaction, music playback, making to-do lists, setting alarms, streaming podcasts, right? Providing weather, right? Traffic, things like that, right? So this is probably one of the biggest examples of that virtual assistant, right? Conversational assistant. But of course, there's many out there, not just Amazon. You have Google Home, you have Siri, all these things, right? So this just shows some use cases for common language, right? So you have voice of customer applications, right? So you're putting voice into your applications. Customer service, call centers, right? Let's say, for example, putting a chatbot at the front of your call center, right? Being able to answer, simple questions instead of always going to a human, right? Like a contact center agent. Captioning workflows is another one. So think, doing captioning on your videos, right? Training videos, providing that captioning right at the video. Personalization, right? So that is recommendation engine, right? Who doesn't, have experience interacting with a recommendation engine in some sort, whether it be, on Google or Netflix or something like that, right? And then information bots is another one, right? Huge, huge. I would argue that every business today should be using a chat bot or a conversational bot in some form or fashion within their business. So with that, I'd like to introduce the Amazon ML stack, broadest and deepest set of capabilities. So the Amazon ML stack is a 3-layer stack, right? As you can see here in this slide. So the top level layer is your AI services layer, and that's what I'll be talking about today, right? So the AI services layer is your pre-built, out of the box, ready to go artificial intelligence services. Amazon's motto when it comes to these is they want to put AI in the hands of every developer. So you don't have to be a data scientist, you don't have to be a machine learning engineer to use these services. Out of the box, ready to go. And they cover certain domains, such as vision, which is Amazon Rekognition, if anyone's heard of these services, which I'll speak about a lot of these today in more detail. But from the vision standpoint, Rekognition, speech, that's Amazon Poly and Transcribe, language services specifically, Translate, which is a translation service, Amazon Comprehend, which is an NLU, NLP service, chatbots, right? That's Amazon Lex from within the ecosystem. And then you have some newer services. Amazon Forecast is a time series forecasting service, and Amazon Personalize is a recommendation engine service. So that's that top level layer. And as I said, we'll be talking about that today. But you also have your ML services layer. So if anyone knows the AWS ecosystem, that's Amazon SageMaker. For anyone who doesn't know what SageMaker is, SageMaker is AWS's end-to-end machine learning platform. It allows you to build, train, deploy, and host your machine learning models all from within one location, right? One-stop shop for all that. And then your last layer is your ML frameworks and infrastructure layer. So this is for complete control of the underlying infrastructure. This is for your data scientists and ML engineers that don't want to work within the confined spaces of SageMaker. So think of, from inside the AWS world, think of running an EC2 instance, which is, a virtual machine. And it's probably a GPU-backed EC2 instance, with some deep learning AMIs. So you have the ability to run your own framework that could be TensorFlow, MXNet, PyTorch, and you have full control, right? So like I said, it's just giving you that extra level of control over working within SageMaker. So again, specifically today, we're going to be talking about the AI services. So, and as you can see, blocked out on the right there is the forecast and personalize. We won't cover those two, but we will get into Rekognition. So although Rekognition is not a language service, it's a vision service, I will talk about it a little bit today. Textract, which is a document processing service, think an OCR, an ML-backed OCR service. Poly, Transcribe, Translate, Comprehend, and Lex, right? And as you can see here, right, pre-trained AI services that require no ML skills, ability to easily add intelligence to your existing apps, and quality and accuracy from continuously learning APIs, right? So these services, so although you don't have access to the underlying machine learning or algorithms, they're constantly getting better, right? Training themselves over time, so you don't really have to concern yourself with that. Okay, so first let's start with Amazon Poly. So Amazon Poly is a service that turns text into lifelike speech, right? Allows you to create applications that talk and build entirely new categories of speech-enabled products. So Poly's text-to-speech service uses advanced deep learning technologies to synthesize natural-sounding human speech. So with dozens of lifelike voices across a broad set of languages, you can build speech-enabled applications that work in many different countries as well, right? In addition to the standard text-to-speech service provided by Poly, it offers a neural text-to-speech service as well. So that has the ability to deliver advanced improvements in speech quality through a new ML approach. So Poly's neural text-to-speech technology also supports two speaking styles that allow you to better match the delivery style of the speaker to the application. So think a newscaster reading style, right? So that would be tailored to news narration. Or think a conversational speaking style, and that's ideal for that kind of two-way communication that mimicking human conversation. So some use cases for Poly specifically, right? Navigation, of course, right? So think of a nav system. It's going to have the directions. It's going to read them back to you, right, in a verbal voice. Special needs AI assistant, right? So think of reading the verbally speech to people. It could be someone with an impairment. Language learning, of course, as well. Podcasting, of course, is huge, right? Pump in an article or something, it's going to read it back to you, just like a podcast. Contact centers as well, and voiced videos and presentations, right? So lots of different use cases for this kind of service. And here it is, just a sample, what it looks like. Input would be text. Today in Seattle, it's 11 degrees Fahrenheit. Goes through the Poly service, out comes speech, right? That's the synthetic speech. It supports 59 voices across 29 languages currently. All right, now on to Amazon Transcribe. Now I'll say as well, I'm going to go through a lot of services here, and time is not it's not a huge amount of time, so I'll probably go through these fairly quickly. If you have any questions, just ask me after the fact, or you can reach out to me after the fact as well on LinkedIn or whatever, and I can answer anything you need. But Amazon Transcribe, so that's an automatic speech recognition service. So Transcribe makes it easy for developers to add speech to text capabilities in their apps. So audio data is virtually impossible for computers to search and analyze. Therefore, recorded speech needs to be converted to text, right, before it can be used by applications. So Transcribe uses deep learning again under the hood. These all use deep learning under the hood, but it uses deep learning, and it uses the automatic speech recognition, the ASR deep learning, to convert speech to text quickly and accurately. So Amazon Transcribe can be used to transcribe customer service calls, to automate closed captioning and subtitling, and to generate metadata for media assets to create a fully searchable archive as well. So you can also use Amazon Transcribe Medical, which is a flavor of Transcribe, which adds medical speech to text capabilities for clinical documentation applications. And it's worth mentioning, I see a ton of this out there right now with people that just have so many audio files that they need transcribed, right? And the legacy way of doing this is sending those to a team of people to manually transcribe them, right? And so what we're doing a lot now is we're building text-to-speech pipelines for clients, right? Where we're pumping in thousands and thousands of audio files, and then we're running them through a pipeline and we're transcribing them, and it's allowing them to do further machine learning on their data, get more insights. Maybe they want to provide some kind of coaching for their agents, as an example, right? As you can see, as you probably know, contact centers just record everything, right? Big contact centers. So imagine having that whole abundance of audio files, and now look at that data. What do you want to do with it? So this is where it starts. And this is again an example, right? So very simple. The audio goes into the transcribe service, and then it comes out as text, right? Hello, this is Alan speaking. That's all it is. And as I said, I might have mentioned it during going over these services. These services are built to be extremely easy to use, right? I know I'd said you don't have to be a data scientist or machine learning engineer, but you also, you don't really have to have too much ML knowledge at all, really. Now, because everything's handled under the hood by AWS, so extremely easy to use these services and adapt them into your business. Some key features of Transcribe. So you have custom vocabulary. So what that is it gives you the ability to add custom vocabulary, custom words, let's say, so into your workflow. So let's say you had you're a certain domain. So you have a certain words that is being missed constantly by Transcribe because it's specific to your business use case or to your domain. So you build these custom vocabularies, which will then get it. The service is retrained on those, and then it gives you the ability to just not miss those words and transcribe them more accurately. Punctuation and capitalization is included, word level timestamps, word level confidence scores, speaker and channel identification, which is huge, right? Especially for, think about a contact center, right? You have an agent and then you have a caller. So if you have the ability to split those, right, then you have the ability to get, deeper with your insights, really. And also there's a transcribe streaming transcription, sorry. So Amazon Transcribe streaming enables you to send an audio stream and receive a stream of text in real time, right? So the API makes it easy for developers to add real-time speech-to-text capability into your apps. So, some examples of when you would use this, right? Think streaming transcriptions for subtitles, right? For live broadcast media. Think lawyers, right? They can make real-time annotations on top of streaming transcriptions during, courtroom stuff. Think video game chat, right? Video game chat can be transcribed in real time so that hosts can moderate content and run real-time analysis on it. So another example, you can provide assistance to the hearing impaired as well through this streaming service. Okay, so Amazon Translate, right? So what that is exactly what it says it is. It's a translation service. So Amazon Translate's a neural machine translation service that delivers fast, high quality, and affordable language translation. Neural machine translation is a form of language translation automation that uses deep learning models to deliver more accurate and more natural sounding translation than traditional statistical or rule-based translation algorithms, right? So with Translate, you can localize content such as websites and applications for your diverse users, easily translate large volumes of text for your analysis, and efficiently enable cross-lingual communication between your users, all right? So think of, again, I'll go back to a contact center. Think of an agent being on a live call with a caller, and think of if you're able to run that through a Translate in real time, then you have the ability to, two people could be speaking different languages, really, right, on a call, and still be able to pass it back and forth. So you could, in theory, get it, run it through Translate, right? Get it translated to, say, English, and then you could spit it back out through Poly and get it translated in the other way to speak to them in their native language. So just an example workflow of that. Some key features, supported 55 languages are supported. It's real time, as I mentioned. Data security is really big. $15 per 1 million characters, so extremely cheap. Or what is that? 0.00075 per word, right? And it's also pay as you go. All these services are pay as you go. Supports tag handling and ease of use. As I said, all these services are very easy to use. Here's a sample translation, pretty simple. Goes in one language, goes through the Translate service, comes out the requested language, the other language. So here's an example workflow of kind of daisy chaining them all together. And I'll say the true power of these services doesn't lay within one service alone. You could use one service, no problem. But I think the true power of these services comes out when you can daisy chain them all together. So look at this example workflow. A person speaks in English, right? It transcribes the voice to text in English. So it comes out as text. It goes through the Translate service, right? Then it goes back in a different language through Poly. So it's very similar to what I just said from the contact center aspect. So it's, the true power of these services is, I believe, putting them all together into a workflow. Amazon Comprehend, right? So Amazon Comprehend is a natural language processing service that uses machine learning to find insights and relationships in text. So there's a treasure trove of potential sitting in your unstructured data, right? I think everyone can agree upon that. And customer emails, support tickets, product reviews, social media, right? Things like that, right? So being able to dig into that and get, further insights, get the sentiment of that kind of stuff, right? That's massive. So the question is, how do you get it, right? So machine learning is great at accurately identifying specific items of interest inside vast amount of text, right? And this could be finding company names in an analysis report, right, as an example. And you can learn the sentiment hidden inside the language, right? So you have the ability to, as I said, identify negative reviews, right, or positive customer interactions. And having the ability to do that and then do it at almost limitless scale, right? It's just extremely valuable. So as you can see here, Comprehend, you put in your data, your unstructured data, it runs through the Comprehend service, and then you have the ability to pull out some certain things, right? So as you can see here, so Comprehend allows you to pull key phrases, right? Entities, organizations, language detection is another one, sentiment, as I mentioned, syntax and topics from text, right? But that's not all. So you also have the ability to build and use custom entities and custom classifiers in your Comprehend workflow. So custom entity recognition extends the capability of Amazon Comprehend by enabling you to identify new entity types not supported as one of those preset out of the box ones provided by AWS. So this means that, in addition to identifying entity types such as location or date or person, right? Those are the pre-built ones. You can analyze documents and extract entities like specific product codes that you use or business specific entities that fit your particular needs. There's also custom classification. So what custom classification is it's actually a two-step process. First, you train a custom classifier to recognize the classes that are of interest to you, specifically for your business. And then you send unlabeled documents to be classified. So essentially you're performing topic modeling on your data. So first you're training it, and then you're pumping new data in that's going to fall into one of those classes or topic, right? So these are actually fairly new services to the Comprehend service. So they add a lot more power to it. Comprehend Medical as well. So it's worth mentioning this. Amazon Comprehend Medical, so that's a specific alternate service that makes it easy to use machine learning to extract relevant medical information from unstructured text. So using Comprehend Medical, you can quickly and accurately gather information, right? Such as medical condition, medication, dosage, strength, and frequency from a variety of sources, right? So this could be doctor's notes, clinical trial reports, and patient health records. So this is what it looks like as I was going through the relationships and entities on the previous kind of out of the box Comprehend. Comprehend Medical has specific entities, right? Could be medication, medical condition, right? Tests and treatments. You have that relationship extraction, so it builds that relationship between medications potentially or tests and treatments. And then it has entity traits, right? So negation or diagnosis, signs and symptoms, right? So think of Comprehend Medical as a form of a flavor of Comprehend that has just been trained solely on medical terms, right? To build up that model to be, better performant in the medical world. So with that, I'd like to just kind of go through, a couple of a new way to do things, right? So like adding a to-do, right? Everyone does that. Everyone adds a to-do, right? At some point. So the modern way to add a to-do, right? So you locate your phone, unlock your phone, locate and open the appropriate app, find the right to-do list, right? And then you add the to-do accordingly, right? Then you're going to exit the app, close the phone, right? Put the phone away. And now look how easy it is, right? Alexa, add book flight to my to-do list, right? The way that you can do this using these conversational interfaces now is astonishing, really, right? So it's fascinating, in my opinion, to see how it has evolved over such a short period of time, really. Now, here's another approach, and I'm sure this is probably familiar to a lot of people as well. So you have a modern way to turn off the lights. So you locate your phone, unlock the phone, locate the app, right? It could be the Nest app or something like that. Navigate to the appropriate room or bulb, right? Tap turn off light, exit the app, phone away. That's the modern way. The old way is actually just get up and actually do it, mind you, right? Which is probably a lot better from an exercise standpoint, but just get up, turn off the lights. And now, Alexa, turn off the bedroom light, right? So again, I think it's just fascinating what conversational interfaces, virtual assistants, all these things are now doing, or not necessarily now doing, because it's been a while, but I'm saying, it's been a few years since these things have all kind of taken over, but it's just, I don't see enough people taking advantage of them today. I guess that's what I mean. So I think it's just fascinating what's still out there and how people should be getting more involved in it. So from a conversational interfaces perspective, you have a few within the AWS ecosystem. So you have Amazon Alexa, which we discussed. We have Amazon Lex. So if anyone hasn't heard what Lex is within AWS, it's your conversational bot service, right? It allows you to build chatbots. And then you have Alexa for Business. So Alexa for Business is, think Alexa, but more business focused. So it allows you to say, Alexa, book a meeting room. Alexa, put this in my calendar, like just very business specific. And that's what Alexa for Business is. So now, speaking specifically to Alexa, right? So voice for consumer devices, right? So how does it work? How does that kind of workflow work? So you create custom skills. They're called skills within Alexa, right? And so if you're interacting with an Alexa at home, you probably are just interacting with the standard default skills, right? But you have the ability to create custom skills, right, from within Alexa. So you create custom skills for consumer and enterprise use cases, right? They go through Alexa, and then you embed those skills into any Alexa enabled device, right, or software. So that could be an Echo device, a Fire TV, could be in your vehicle, right, could be in your home, right, things like that. So that's kind of the example workflow from an Alexa standpoint. Now, Amazon Lex, right? So as I briefly touched upon. So Lex is, again, it's a service for building conversational interfaces into any application using voice and text. Lex provides, again, advanced deep learning functionalities, right? Using ASR, right? Automatic speech recognition for converting speech to text, and NLU to recognize the intent of the text to enable you to build applications with highly engaging user experiences, right? So with Lex, it's actually the same deep learning technology that powers Alexa, right? And it's now available to any developer really to put into their own applications easily and quickly. And actually, it's when you have the ability to build chatbots now, it gives you the power to build your own kind of Alexa, but for your own specific business, right? To build for your own use case. So here's some use cases for Alexa itself. Contact center bots, right? So this is a big one, right? This is massive. I think every contact center should be utilizing a chatbot in some form or another. But you could have it at the front of your contact center. So instead of getting right to an agent or getting right to an automated, an IVR type system, you go to a chatbot, right? So it allows you to, maybe perform some account inquiries up front with the chatbot, maybe some bill payments, service updates, things that you really don't need to bother an actual agent with, and you could just solve it all up front. Conversational interfaces, right? You could book tickets, order food, manage bank accounts. IoT bots, right? So that could be kiosks, Apple appliances, or automotive. Informational bots, right? So this could be answering questions. So news updates, weather information. Something that I see a ton of now coming out, and I think it's extremely powerful to have, is you could have an Alexa bot built simply for your business for FAQs, right? Very easy to build. And it could be used, but maybe for internal purposes for your employees, just to maybe throw in FAQs and you gradually build those up over time. And your users would interact with the bot for any FAQ they have, right? And then productivity bots. I call them BI bots, business intelligence bots. This allows you to dig deep into your data, with a Lex bot, right? With a chat bot, as opposed to any other form or fashion. So you could actually have your bot fronting SQL queries to go back and go into your data and do things, right? So another big use case I see out there today. This is just an example of Lex and what it looks like, right? So, you have a Lex chatbot, right? You have intents, right? So that's kind of the first step of a bot. You build an intent. So in this use case, an intent is book hotel, right? So that's your intended intent performs an action in response to a natural language user input. Then there's utterances. So utterances are spoken or typed. So you can actually, either speak to the Lex bot or type, right? That invoke your intent, right? So think, book hotel being the intent, and one of your utterances could be, I want to book a hotel. So as soon as someone says, I want to book a hotel, or types it, it triggers that book hotel intent. Slots are input data required to fulfill the intent, right? So that's kind of that back and forth, as you can see in this slide. Sure, which city, what date do you check in, right? New York, right? So it's fulfilling the slot with that information. And then you have the fulfillment, right? So that's the mechanism to fulfill your intent. So here's just another look at that. You book a hotel, goes in verbally here. This is example workflow. And then you book a hotel. It takes in that utterance as automatic speech recognition. It triggers the hotel booking intent, right? And then it goes through the process, right? It goes through city, okay? New York City, check-in, date, check-out, date. So as you're doing it, you're fulfilling slots. It's taking all that input information, and then it's going and taking it, and it's speaking back to you in Poly. So as you can see, this again, that daisy chain of service. And then, can I go ahead with that booking? So that's where you see that Lambda, that symbolizes Amazon Lambda, AWS Lambda, right? So actually, I'll talk about that on the next slide. So, there's two ways to fulfill an intent, right? So you have a Lambda function. So if anyone doesn't know what Lambda is within AWS, that's its serverless compute platform. So you have the ability to use a Lambda function to perform that business logic and fulfill that intent. Or you have the ability to just put the response directly within the Lex chatbot as a response, right? So think as what I mentioned before, an FAQ. From an FAQ standpoint, you could probably just go ahead and put the response in the Lex chatbot, right? So, what's your favorite color? Blue, right? That's easily, represented by a simple response from within Lex. But where you get the true power of Lex is using a Lambda function, which will perform your business logic. So think of, Lambda is going to call out to a database and extract information for you, or Lambda is going to push data to a database, right? In the case of booking a hotel, or checking if there's availability for the hotel for that date, right? It's going to reach out and check. Yeah, or think of what I mentioned before from a business intelligence standpoint. Lambda functions would be used. Your SQL queries that I mentioned would be used by Lambda functions to call out and call those call the database with those SQL queries. So that's your kind of brains of your Lex chatbot in performing the business logic, and those are the two methods. Also worth mentioning, Lex chatbots support multi-channel conversation, right? So you could, you could build a Lex chatbot into a web app. You can put it into Slack. There's also native integration with Facebook Messenger and Twilio. As you can see here, of course, you have your Lambda function, which could call out and gives you the response. And that could be a text that could send back an image, or it could, send back voice as Amazon Poem. So Amazon Connect. So I wanted to touch upon, Amazon Connect as well. So Amazon Connect is is AWS's cloud contact center, and what it is it's easy. It's an easy to use, omni-channel cloud contact center, right? That helps companies provide superior customer service at a lower cost. So it's designed from the ground up to be omni-channel, right? And by omni-channel, I just mean it supports many different methods of interaction with the contact center. And it provides a seamless experience across voice and chat for your customers and your agents, right? So this includes, one set of tools for skill-based routing, powerful real-time and historical analytics, easy to use intuitive management tools, and it's all with a pay-as-you-go pricing, right? So which means, it simplifies, contact center operations, and it improves agent efficiency, and it lowers your costs, of course, right? It's also worth mentioning you can set up a contact center, a full contact center in minutes, really, that can scale to support millions of customers if you needed to. So very easy to set up and very, very inexpensive. So this just shows again a sample workflow, right? And this is actually a very common workflow I see. So you have Amazon Connect as your cloud contact center. You have a Lex chatbot that's interacting with the callers up front before getting put to an actual agent. Then that the input between the user and the Lex chatbot is captured. It's then sent through the Amazon Transcribe service, so transcribing the speech to text. It then runs through, that transcript then runs through Comprehend, the Comprehend service, maybe pulls some key phrases, some sentiment, some insights, right? Things like that, could be custom entities, right? And then it goes off for further analytics, right? And that could be, from an analytics standpoint, that could be further machine learning, or that could be, like just visuals, right? Just visual analytics, right? Whatever that looks like. So very common workflow that I see out there today. Now, although, as I mentioned, Amazon Rekognition is not a language service, I did want to touch upon it, right? So Rekognition makes it easy to add image and video analysis to your applications using highly scalable deep learning technology. So with Rekognition, you can identify objects, people, text, scenes, and activities in images and video, right? As well as you have the ability to detect any inappropriate language or content. Rekognition also provides highly accurate facial analysis and facial search capabilities that you can use to detect, analyze, and compare faces for a wide variety of user verification purposes. Could be people counting or any public safety use cases as well. Rekognition actually is a fairly new service as well called custom labels. So this gives you the ability to identify the objects and scenes and images that are specific to your business needs, right? So for example, you could build a model to classify, specific machine parts on your assembly line, or to detect unhealthy plants, right? As another example. So think of Rekognition as kind of an out-of-the-box computer vision model that you have to use. So it's already trained to detect, faces, celebrities, pull text, things like that. But for your specific use case, you probably would want to develop a custom computer vision model, right? So this Rekognition custom labels now gives you the ability to do that. So we had worked with a client recently where we had to detect safety in their sites, right? So that could be hard hat, that could be boots, things like that. So you could never do that with an out-of-the-box Rekognition, but you now have the ability to do that by training a custom model with Rekognition custom labels. Here's just an example of the console, the AWS console, what it looks like from an object and scene detection perspective. As you can see on the right, the results, right? It's seeing person, 99, gives you the accuracy percentage as well. Human, screen, right? So it provides you with the results as well as the accuracy. You also have the ability to look into the request and response in a JSON format as well, if you wanted to dig in deeper to that. Here's another example of a face detection, right? Facial analysis. This is with the standard Rekognition, mind you. As you can see, looks like a face, provides the accuracy percentage, appears to be male, right? Couldn't really tell, thinks it's wearing a mask actually. But this is just to see, you can get a feel for it. And again, this is for demo purposes, right? If you're gonna use Rekognition in real life, you're not gonna use the console like this. This is just to test out the service. Text in the wild, it's also worth calling out that you have the ability to extract text content from real world images in various layouts, fonts, and styles, right? It's actually fairly new that it supports for horizontal rotation. So, it can see an image, right? It's not only going to classify from within the image, maybe a face or maybe a specific object, but it now has the ability to pull text from images as well. Here's an example of what that looks like in the console, right? An image goes in, pulls it out, highlights it, provides the results on the right-hand side. So the way it has the ability to do that is using a service called Textract. Now, that was mentioned on the AI services slide I mentioned earlier, but Textract is a fully managed machine learning service that automatically extracts text and data from scanned documents, right? But it goes beyond simple OCR or optical character recognition, and it has the ability to identify, understand, and extract data from forms and tables as well, right? Not just text. So, we see a lot of companies today extract data from scanned documents, right? And let's say PDFs, right? How many thousands of PDFs are out there in organizations, right? With just sitting there. So you can actually not only take the text from the PDFs, but takes the forms and the tables from that as well. What we see today is a lot of people doing this in a manual process as well, right? They hand it off to humans to manually go through these documents and extract the relevant information they need. Or they're using an OCR software, right? But OCR requires manual configuration and requires often updating, right? Once new information is added. So yeah, Textract, great service. We see it a lot being used nowadays as well in document processing pipelines, right? So you build a full pipeline where a client will pump in documents, extract the text, then run them through another service like Comprehend to pull out insights, key phrases, entities, whatever that may be. Yeah, so I mean, essentially, all I'm going to say there is everything I showed is showing you the ability to easily add artificial intelligence to your business, to your clients' businesses, whatever that may be, with very little machine learning or data science expertise involved. So, all these services are out there now, and they're capable to be used by anyone, right? So that's kind of just what I wanted to go through and highlight today. Then quickly, I'll just say, a couple ways you can engage with us, right? So we do immersion days and ideation sessions, right? So that's kind of like an instructor-led one-day event, right? We can come in, help you out, whatever you need from a standpoint of maybe a whiteboarding session, something like that. POCs and pilots, right? So we do full proof of concepts, right? Demonstrating the ability, the applicability of AI and ML to your business. That could be maybe 4 to 6 weeks worth of effort to show, maybe you have an idea and you want to put it down and see what you can get out of it. And then production solutions, right? So maybe you already know what you're doing. You just want to go right to production. It's worth mentioning. 60% of machine learning models never actually make it to production. It's a fascinating stat. They just sit in a dev account, right? You spend a lot of time developing a machine learning model, but it never goes into production. So yeah, full production solutions, we can help with that too. And that's it for me. So I appreciate it. I do apologize. Like I said, it was a lot of information, and thank you.
Wonderful, Mark. So we have a few questions. If you check Q&A section in the below tab, the first question is there any learning website to jump into this technology?
So what I would do from a learning standpoint, AWS offers, it's called the Machine Learning University, okay? It's actually completely free. It's something like 68 hours of content. It covers end-to-end machine learning in AWS, right? Now, one of the big focuses in AWS is their AI services, is that top level layer. I would highly suggest digging into that. It's called the Machine Learning University with AWS, and it's completely free.
Wonderful. So the next question is, of the Amazon AWS certificates, which do you find most valuable in gaining skills with both the cloud and machine learning?
Great question, actually. I have, I guess, 6 certs now, AWS certs. I have the 5 main, and I have my ML cert. So from a standpoint of cloud, generic cloud, the AWS SA Associate is a fantastic cert to get you, that base level knowledge of Amazon. The pro level certs are a lot harder, but to get you that base level knowledge, that SA Associate is really big. And then the machine learning side, the AWS machine learning cert, it's extremely hard. It's say, half focused on AWS ML and half focused on just machine learning in general. But that's what I would recommend from a machine learning standpoint. And they also have a data and analytics cert as well, which is focused on the data engineering side.
Wonderful. So the next question is, what is the cost to run NLP business projects? Can you give us some estimation based user count, message counts?
So I probably can't give you an estimate based on, because I just don't have enough information, but I would say that, from a standpoint, if you look at it, what is the cost of running an NLP business project? You could probably get off the ground and running in an NLP project, especially utilizing these services that are extremely easy to use, and you don't have to build your own custom model in a few weeks, really, and you'd be able to get started and grow from there. But to get your your feet wet, I think that's probably a good thing to say. Maybe 2 to 3 weeks, really.
Got it. So the next question is that free or paid services?
So all these services have a free tier. If anyone knows the AWS ecosystem, they offer a free kind of level to allow you to play with them for a certain amount of time. A free tier sometimes covers 1 year worth of services and under a certain threshold. So every one of those services has a free tier level. So you can play with them to get familiar for free.
Okay. Is your address one fantical place truly fantic, reflecting AI?
I don't really know. That's the address of Rackspace head office. I have been there. It's actually a mall. It's actually an old mall in San Antonio that has been converted to an office. So the stores are now meeting rooms, and yeah, they still have the escalators and the elevators. It is an extremely cool place. They've taken out some of the escalators and put slides, so you can slide right down. Yeah, so it's a cool place. I don't know if it's really truly reflecting AI, but yeah.
Yeah. So going on the next one, we are working with some AWS consultants. They sublease some AWS service. What is the business model? Are they contract from AWS or they sell AWS service?
I think that might be a 2-part question. We can hire a consultant or hire someone. Which one is cost effective? Yeah, so the AWS services are owned by AWS, right? That's just how it is. The pricing is billed by AWS. So like, for example, if you brought us in from a consulting standpoint, we're going to build something for you, but from a billing standpoint, you are going to get billed directly from AWS. We don't get involved in that, obviously. Now, that's a great question. Hire a consultant or hire someone. It really depends on your needs, right? We've worked with clients that, that's exactly what they didn't want to do. They didn't want to hire a data scientist, right? And we have full data scientists on staff. So they bring us in for 2 months, we build something for them, and then they can go off and do it on their own as opposed to hiring a data scientist or two, right? So it's really, it's kind of a juggling act to see, it's really use case specific. And it's also existing skills in-house specific as well as what you already have. You know, if you had a team of data engineers on staff and you really wanted to build something, you know, in the ML area, then we could come in and build it for you. Your data engineers would probably pick it up and be able to run with it. You wouldn't have to hire 3 data scientists, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of the long answer.
Wonderful. So I think we have no further questions. So
Hey, Mark.
thank you.
This is Jason. Okay, thank you to be our speaker. And it's first time to see you on the screen. We communicated through email many times.
Yes.
Okay, my question is, there are a lot of, AWS certificates. Some of our ideas member, they are working on some online courses to get this type of certificates. There are so many, for analytics, for engineers, for architects. So what is your suggestion for the young professional who want to, use the AWS technology? What type of certificate? Do you think it's helpful to get a certificate, or you have some suggestion what type of certificate is good for the entry-level engineers?
Yeah, so I get answer this. So I get asked this all the time, really, right? Do I think AWS certifications are valuable? Yes, extremely, because no matter what you're doing, let's say you're looking for a job. An AWS certification looks amazing and will get you in the door. Okay, I'll just say that. So the value lies in kind of the reputation of that piece as well. Okay, so I do think they're extremely valuable. If you have an AWS certificate, or do you know everything in AWS? No. I mean, I've worked in AWS for many years. I don't know everything in AWS, right? It's a massive ecosystem. Now, so how you get started, I would say specifically, I would start, well, I think there is a newer AWS Cloud Practitioner certificate. I would start with that, okay? Start with the Cloud Practitioner, which gets you that base level knowledge. Then I would go to the SA Associate. Even though it's not really data or ML focused, it gives you, again, more of that base level knowledge of AWS and that ecosystem. And then as you go, I wouldn't jump into like the developer associate or the developer pro. I mean, I have those certs, and I'll tell you, I never work on that technology, right? I would go to the data cert, which is a specialty cert, and I would go to the ML cert, which is a specialty cert. So get that base level knowledge of AWS with the Cloud Practitioner, the SA Associate, then move into the specialty side specific to what you want to know. You want to work in data, go with the data and analytics. You want to work in ML, go with the ML. You want to work in both, get both. And from a training perspective, Linux Academy and A Cloud Guru are probably my favorite for getting certified.
Okay, thank you for your answer. That's great.
Thank you so much, Mark. You addressed valuable machine learning and data science services provided by Amazon. We appreciate your time and effort to join with us today and share your knowledge. I think you made a point that to apply AI in the company, we do not require really depth knowledge. I think that's perfectly true.
Yeah,
we do have another question from the attendee. Can you look at that, Mark?
Oh, there you go. How much do you need to know about the customer's industry domain to build a solution for the customer? Industry domain, not much. Probably use case, we'd need to dig in. That's kind of, all our projects we do like, a 1-week discovery around the specific use case. But from an industry domain, very little.